I'm Tim Herrera with the Sacramento County Office of Education, here with another Teacher of the Year profile. We're speaking with Adrienne Radich Drouin, who is the Teacher of the Year for the River Delta Unified School District.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you teach and tell us what you teach.
So I teach first grade at DHY Elementary in Rio Vista. I absolutely adore first grade. It's definitely my passion. I'll be going into my 10th year teaching first grade this year. There was one year that I did a combo, so it was a K1. And kindergarten was great as well, but first grade is definitely a true passion of mine.
Tell me why you like teaching first grade.
Well, one of the things that's really exciting about first grade is there are so many amazing children's books out there, and because it's only their second year in school, they haven't encountered some of them, so I get to be the first person to share some of those really exciting, great books with them. So I absolutely adore that piece. And then because it's early on in their academic careers, you have a huge opportunity to change the trajectory of the way someone is headed in education. So if they enter first grade behind, if you intensively support them, you can totally change the direction they're headed in. It's much harder to do that when you're in the higher grades. So I like to work to sort of catch students right from the beginning and give them that strong foundation. It feels really good. And you also see tremendous growth in first grade.
So you're able to try to kind of identify maybe a direction they're going in that they shouldn't, so you're kind of able to steer things around.
Yeah, somebody is struggling academically, it is the year to address it. You can cover huge ground with them. Sometimes their brains just haven't really been trained to store and retrieve information. They haven't had a lot of practice with stuff like that, and through intervention, you can make huge strides with students so that they can leave first grade where they need to be and then just continue from there. And that's what I love about it.
So in the community where you teach, it's kind of a small, close-knit community.
It is.
So what's the relationship with the families? Obviously, you've taught there for quite a while now, so you've gotten to know the families. How important is that relationship between the teacher and the parents?
It's absolutely critical because you are a team. You need to work together to help support that child. And it's really neat because when you work in a small community, oftentimes you'll have a student and then a couple years later you'll have their sibling. And I've had families where I've taught almost every single kid in that family, and I adore that, and it's really neat. You'll go out to the local grocery store and you'll bump into students, and people know your name, and when you're on a more personal level with people, they are more apt to support you and want to be a part of the school and help the school, and that's a really amazing experience.
And really, like you were saying, it's a partnership where you and the family are both actually teaching. I mean, they're
Yes.
reinforcing what you're teaching in the classroom.
Right, and I think once you have that, you have established a good relationship with them, then they value the feedback that you're giving them and the things that you're sending home to encourage them to do with their child. And, yeah.
So what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that teachers today are facing?
I think one of the biggest challenges is we live in an increasingly digital world, and sometimes due to budget constraints, it's difficult to keep up with the latest technology. And it's not uncommon to see toddlers working their parents' cell phones or iPads, and I think kids come to us really used to the instant gratification that they get with using an electronic device. I think we need to incorporate technology as much as possible, but then also stretch ourselves to teach more creatively to help them stay engaged when they're used to that instant gratification.
Yeah, that is quite a challenge. It's quite a balance, because on the one hand, like you were talking about teaching with books and manipulatives or whatever, and those types of things, and then you've also got the high-tech part of it with iPads, and so you're trying to strike a balance to keep the student interested when they don't have a gadget in their hands.
Right.
That's got to be tough. So what do you do?
It can be. Like I said, just stretching yourself to be more creative and really getting to know the students on a personal level so that you can bring in their interests. That really helps. And then another thing that I'm, really inspired by is the growth mindset model, and that's based on research that shows that you can think of your brain almost like a muscle in your body, and you exercise to strengthen those muscles. Well, the brain works the same way. So the more you work at something, the better and more accurate you will be. And so just teaching students how their brain works and how important it is to persist when they face a setback or when things are challenging or maybe not as interesting as they would like. They need to push through because they're going to profoundly be able to increase their skills. And so,
do you find it difficult or challenging, I guess, to motivate students when you had talked about the instant gratification generation, when they're used to the answer right away or being right or whatever, and you're trying to teach them it's okay to make a mistake?
Yeah, I think that's where the growth mindset really comes in, and there are so many little mini lessons that you can do with kids to teach them about how neurons in their brain work and how when you're learning something new, the neurons in your brain make connections, and the more you do something, the stronger those connections are, and that helps increase your skills and will help you reach your goals. So once they understand that they actually have profound power over how they learn and how their intelligence grows, I find that they're very motivated by that. And then I also connect purpose to everything that we're doing, and instead of just talking about things in the context of first grade, I point out that as adults they will have to get jobs someday, and it's important to work really hard in school. That way by the time you reach that point, you get to select a career that you love, and you get to go to a job every day that you feel passionate about, rather than taking something that just whatever you can find, and it may not be your true love. So we talk about, education brings you happiness in the long run.
It might be difficult for a first grader to see that far ahead, but you have to kind of plant that seed.
Yeah,
don't you?
and if you talk to them about it regularly, and just thinking about, would you like to do something every day that wasn't enjoyable to you, they do get it. And we talk about that all the time. Well, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to practice reading when I get home because I want to get my dream job. And I think it does sink in.
So why did you become a teacher? What brought you to the profession?
My very first job was teaching children's gymnastics, and I assisted my gymnastics teacher. But as time went on, she sort of backed off and turned over some of the classes to me. And I absolutely loved seeing how excited kids would get when they learned a new floor routine or a new skill on the balance beam or the uneven bars, and that's something that just never left me. And when I entered college, I hadn't completely settled on a professional path, and I was working in a bookstore, and I was surrounded by children's books. It reminded me how much I enjoy sharing books with kids, and then I started thinking about my first job, and it sort of got me steered in that direction. And then early elementary was not easy for me, and that was something that I wanted to get into so that I could help other kids that may have had maybe having similar experiences that I had when I was in school.
Do you have any one teacher in your background who you think about as someone who was kind of a role model for you?
Yeah, I had several. Especially in middle school, I had a teacher, Miss Passador, that I found very inspiring. And then also even in college, when I was in the credentialed program, I had a professor, Marty Conrad at San Francisco State, who was incredibly inspiring and has really influenced my work as a teacher.
And so who knows, maybe someday there will be someone looking back at you as their inspiration for being a teacher. You never know.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on being named the Teacher of the Year for the River Delta Unified School District. We've been speaking with Adrienne Radich Drouin, who is a Teacher of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.